Hello there, Jerry. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me well?
I can. Thank you. Hello. Hello, Mauricio.
Amazing. Let's just give some couple of minutes just for community to start joining us. Jungle Mike, Maria, thank you for being here. Evan, thank you so much for joining us also.
Yeah, hey Mauricio, how you doing? I'm excited to be here. I'm kind of calling in from the new HyperAppliance account, so I don't have my personal account on here. That avatar of myself is going to be alone home for this call, but I'm here.
Space will be recorded, so for everyone who don't worry. Yeah, I'm gonna be making sure to share this space with everyone.
Nice.
So, okay, so let's jump in. So thank you everyone, first of all, for being here. This is our first ever X Space hosted by Hyper Performance Edge Computing. It has been an exciting moment for us. Just over a year ago, we received an email from you, Evan, letting us know that we were among the first HyperAIBox node owners in the world. And after this, I had the opportunity to meet Jerry on the BGI event in Panama. And from there, basically, our HyperCycle journey started. So thank you. And well, for everyone who's out there listening to us, we're honored to be joined by Evan, the visionary CEO, and Jerry Hall, co-founder of HyperAppliance, to talk about where we headed next from the evolution of the hardware and how node runners like us will power the future of decentralized AI. So let's dive in. I have some great questions for Evan. Let's dive in. So Evan, I'm going to start with you.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. So Evan, what was the original mission behind HyperAppliance, and how has that vision evolved?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, Mauricio, but I think I understood basically the overall vision of HyperAppliance, and has it remained the same? It sounded like was the question. Can everyone hear me okay, by the way? Just really quick, want to test that.
Yeah, you're coming in good. You're coming in good, Evan.
Okay, cool. So before I answer that, and I will answer that, I'm going to do a little bit of a Donald Trump weave on this one. I kind of want to set the stage and talk about overall kind of philosophy of why this idea rang true to kind of my spirit and my ideals, and then kind of tell you a little bit about where we're at and the current mission and vision and how it hasn't changed over the last year and a half, 2 years. But I think starting out, so I've been really thinking a lot about this lately, and it's really exciting me. I know it is for Jerry too. Just with the thought that we are basically on the precipice of a whole new economy. This idea took inception off of what we were doing at HyperCycle and wanting some sort of platform, some bare metal device that you could host in your home that would be conducive to, a knucklehead like me that's not very technical, but knows that AI is the next big thing and wants to get involved in some way, and also believes in the power of decentralization. So those elements, I've just been really kind of thinking a lot about the next 5 years, what this landscape is going to look like, where we're headed, and how HyperAppliance fits into it. So all that to say, I'm just going to, for the next, I hope 5-6 minutes, if it's okay, to kind of pontificate on where we're at, where we're going, and then kind of bluntly answer your question after that. But so I recently rewatched a movie that I haven't watched in over 10 years. Val Kilmer is a great actor that just passed away. I don't know if you guys know some of his work, Top Gun and whatnot, but he made a movie about the Doors where he played Jim Morrison. Maybe a lot of you might not know who that is, but he was the frontman, lead singer for the Doors, the rock band in the 60s. I know Jerry knows. Jerry, please tell me you know the Doors. Do you like their song? Okay. Of course. So he had this really famous quote in kind of his latter years. I think it was like late 60s, early 70s, where he talks about the future of music. And he says that he can envision one person with a lot of machines or tapes or electronic setups singing or speaking and using machines. He kept using that word. And what I believe he was doing, he was tapping into this vision and imagining kind of this collapse of the old gate-kept structures of the music industry, like labels, studios, producers that are squeezing every last profit out of every artist. And he was envisioning this rise of more self-sufficient creators commanding machines from their bedrooms or their own personal studio. And this was a very prescient thing that he said for the time. I mean, it was prophetic in a way for what we've seen take shape in the form of like techno music and now like house and EDM and even like beat producers for hip hop and whatnot. So today we're seeing this kind of similar revolution in the realm of compute. It's not just in music, obviously, but it's in how intelligence itself is produced, how it's stored, how it's distributed. And this DeepIn revolution that we're embarking on is about empowering individuals to manage these intelligent machines in their own homes, not as consumers, but as really like sovereign producers of AI infrastructure. So I have a few things that I've been really thinking about, and they're almost kind of assertions or predictions. Jared, did you need to cut in there for a second, or you good?
Oh, no, not at all. You're on a roll. You're like butter right now. Keep going.
Okay, I thought I saw you cut in. No big deal. And please stop me if you want to, dovetail on anything I say here. But I have 5 or 6 things that I've really been thinking about as current trends, but things that are going to be instantiated in our everyday life over the next 5 years, and kind of how HyperAppliance plays into it. So the first one, I really believe that the future of work in and of itself is, or at least a large portion of it over the next few years, is home-based compute stewardship, I'm calling it, right? So I guess the main assertion is that in the near future, households will generate income not just from their labor, but from, I guess, computational infrastructure ownership, right? So there was a recent study by Gartner that by 2027, just a couple of years from now, more than 20% of digital infrastructure will be hosted outside traditional data centers. And that's driven by edge and DeepIn networks. So, I mean, just take DeepIn in and of itself. That sector, that market cap grew by 1,200% in 2023, according to Masari, which is obviously signaling this massive investor and developer attention toward it. It seems like to me that the 20th century was about this kind of industrial revolution, labor at the factory. The 21st century is going to be about this stewardship at the node level for each individual. So that was the first thing that I'm kind of seeing as a major theme. Second is that all these AI agents that are being developed, whether it's Agentic T, formerly Talos, or the plethora of others that are coming online, AI agents are going to need homes. And I kind of envision DeepIn is kind of building that neighborhood, right? So the main point here is that LLMs and AI agents, which are proliferating like crazy right now, are increasingly modular and very location agnostic. They don't need to live. I'm from the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, and I grew up there, and I watched it evolve into what it's become, this behemoth of this monolithic tech companies. And I remember as a boy driving around and seeing orchards, and now they're all just totally razed to the ground, and you'll see these massive tech companies, campus number 5 for Google. So it's really weird to see, but these things don't need to live in Silicon Valley anymore in a giant data center. They can live in your garage or your living room. I was just up visiting Ray, and he has a HyperAIBox like right under his TV in his living room, and it looks beautiful. So it could really be anywhere. But with these local inference models like like Mistral and other quantized GPT kind of clones, even like Raspberry Pi class devices can now run simplified AI tasks, which is really interesting, and that's only going to get better. And HyperCycle's architecture allows for this kind of distributed logic execution across thousands of lightweight nodes. So, just like how cloud over the last decade or so has turned everyone into a publisher, DePIN is going to be turning everyone into a host of machine intelligence of sorts, right? So that's the second point. Third is that energy sovereignty and compute sovereignty are kind of converging right now. So the main thing I'm seeing here is that individuals, I recently got solar panels on my home. I'm up here much more north of the Bay Area now, Northern California. But I really think that I'm envisioning individuals who own solar panels and HyperAppliances will effectively become these kind of sovereign micro data centers. I think that's just a really cool idea. And we're already seeing, I mean, solar is just a massive industry that's, I think, surpassed over 6 million homes in 2024 in the US alone. And then we also paired with this AI compute demand, which I don't even know where it's at this point. It's hockey sticking out of control. I think it's like 3 times faster than Moore's law can even keep up with at this point. But the point here is that, you know, AI really is this kind of new oil, and owning the drill, or like your HyperAppliance, is kind of, I can think of it in maybe a few years from now as this kind of next socioeconomic class marker in and of the sort. So that's an interesting idea. Next, the collapse of the cloud. So I think, I don't think it's going to totally go away, but centralization, I think, has reached a bit of diminishing returns at this point. So the main thing here is that centralized clouds are really facing a lot of headwinds: cost, latency, privacy bottlenecks, and DePIN offers a very kind of anti-fragile alternative to that. So latency at OpenAI, I looked this up. The latency at OpenAI's API has increased 35% year over year due to a bunch of scaling pressures. And edge inference reduces this latency by up to, I think, 90% from an NVIDIA study, and cost by up to 70%. So, you know, philosophically, I think it's very dangerous for one company or a couple monolithic tech companies to own the intelligence of a civilization. And that just seems very problematic to me. And by pushing it to the edge with these DePIN devices, we all can kind of share in the ownership of that intelligence and keep it much more healthy and decentralized. Last couple things: humans and machines. This whole idea of you know, there are some dangers to AI, of course, but I think humans and machines are much more symbiotic partners than threats. The more I think about it, there is still kind of a fear of making sure that we have enough safety controls on AI, but this fear of AI displacing humans, I think it really misses the real opportunity. I think AI appliances augmenting human agency and productivity and meaning is more of the crux of it. There was a recent McKinsey report that said that AI could increase global productivity by 4.4 trillion annually, and not just displace a bunch of jobs. And then there's another one that came out that talks about 80% of workers surveyed by Microsoft in 2024 said they want AI tools to help with repetitive tasks and not replace them. So just as in the 1800s, we feared that these like steam engines would eliminate all of labor, instead they eliminated a lot of toil, a lot of menial labor. But today, I think DePIN powered AI will eliminate a lot of drudgery, not take away our dignity. We're still going to be operators and really operating these small businesses, these small pieces of infrastructure from our home, and providing a lot of meaning and value to our lives. And then finally, this idea of industrial capitalism and transferring to more kind of an intelligent localism economy. HyperAppliance, in a sense, offers kind of an on-ramp to a new economic system, some sort of kind of post-capitalist localism that's powered by AI and not extractive of our labor. So platforms like, I know Jerry has interviewed the CEO of Akash or Render, HyperCycle, which is already showing hundreds of thousands of connected nodes, demonstrate this global demand for distributed compute. And you know, local first compute really also, another benefit, reduces carbon footprint by 43% compared to hyperscale data centers from a European study recently. So it's not just decentralized compute. We're really decentralizing capital. We're decentralizing dignity. We're decentralizing human potential. So in short, Mauricio, to kind of wrap that up and answer your question, the original mission was very simple, but it was disruptive. It was to allow everyday people like myself, who's non-technical but kind of understands what's on the horizon, to monetize compute from home without the need to understand every single nuance or back end of blockchain or AI. And over the past 12 months, that mission has definitely matured. I mean, we've gone from a proof of concept to a real community-driven adoption. That vision has expanded to include industrial applications and commercial applications that Jerry might touch on a little bit later, sovereign AI agents, full stack integrations that make DePIN not just accessible but desirable to not only this community but beyond. And so it's HyperAppliance not just being hardware. It's becoming kind of a movement toward human empowerment in this age of intelligent machines, and that's kind of what I'm most excited about exploring here today. So
I love it.
The mission has not changed. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing these key innovations that led to the creation of the of HyperAppliance, and now this with the new home portal Neuron. Like it's just incredible to see all these different technologies just being in the works. And now that you're mentioning, I want to ask this question to Jerry on what can expect from the next gen appliances or software integrations, like any features or update that you guys are particularly excited. I ask this question because we have heard some whispers of industrial or enterprise models. And is this something in development, or can you share?
Sure. Thanks. There was actually a couple of questions in that, and so I think the first one that I'll tackle when we're talking about innovations, probably the largest innovation for HyperAppliance over the last 12 months is the expansion from a manufacturer of devices to actually becoming a platform company. So yes, we will manufacture devices. Absolutely, 100%. We will continue to put together specifications to bring the very best hardware to our clients. But in addition to that hardware is the software that we're developing that will come integrated with, for instance, the home portal Neuron. But that isn't to say that the first iteration of the H1 and H2 Hyper AI boxes aren't going to get software upgrades also. 100% they're going to. And the reason is because we see how important it is going to be for people who are providing a resource, and this resource of compute, this commodity per se. Producing this commodity is not going to be static. In other words, the demands of the world today will be different than the demands of the world 12 months from now. And if we are only producing hardware, then our entire clientele will be subject to the whims of software providers outside of our influence. And so the opportunity for us to just, well, I want to say expand into a platform mode, allows us to make some great relationships with some incredible development teams out there, one of which I'm happy to say we've signed an agreement with and are working with FluxPoint Studios, the maker of the agent formerly known as Talus, currently known as Agentic T. This is an incredible AI module out there performing a whole host of different tasks. And how cool will that be that we're able to provide our clientele with either preloaded or point and click accessibility to these type of AIs. And so I think that's the very first part of that question that I want to answer. And secondly, when you start talking about industrial or enterprise models and things of that nature, we have been working for a long time in partnership with Hewlett Packard Enterprise and also with Supermicro as a distributor partner for, I don't want to, they're not necessarily hyperscaling data center configurations, but there are a lot of groups of small electricity providers outside of the United States that are looking at how to monetize the commodity of electricity that they generate through their either solar farm or hydroelectric facility. And they are looking at what we would call smaller scale data centers that would basically be providing compute for specific geographic regions. And for reasons of data sovereignty, regulation, compliance, the minute you start moving across borders with your data, you enter a world of uncertainty. And most of the time, enterprise grade entities, they want certainty. They want to understand that their data is under the laws in which they operate, and they understand all of the interworkings of that particular jurisdiction. It gets a little funny when a company in a certain country has to ship their data across country lines and they are no longer necessarily in the know, or their government and their contracts might not necessarily be valid in another jurisdiction. So, what I can tell you specifically, HyperAppliance not only has the home portal Neuron, but we also are producing what we call the data portal workstation. And this will be a custom built, well, spec built system for instance, if you wanted it in your home may only require 10% of its capacity. You could sell the excess 90%. No different than if you're in the correct jurisdiction and you produce 100 kilowatts of electricity, but you only need 10, you can sell the 90 extra kilowatts into the grid. Or no different than the sharing economy of an Uber type network, where when you're not using your car for your family needs, you can plug into that Uber network and monetize that vehicle through that network, or Airbnb, or you fill in the blanks. So I hope I answered that question, Mauricio. And if you have follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Mauricio, you there? Did we lose him? Hope not. I'll take a stab at that question as well, just to quickly kind of answer. I think you were talking about some of the key innovations of the current generation, or the Neuron appliance that's coming up. Just some quick specs. I know it's also on our site. You could look it up really quickly, but like still going for a very compact, sleek, very rugged design. I'm not sure if everyone's seen it, but it is very kind of attractive looking. It's only going to draw, I think, 65 watts of power. Obviously, we're going to have a full suite of pre-installed software that you'll be able to control your experience with via an app. We have a marketplace in development with FluxPoint that Jerry mentioned. That's going to be just an amazing way for us to have a user experience that's fluid, dynamic, easy to use. One of my most exciting things for this model is going to be the expandability of it. So having an eGPU feature on it is going to be essential to keeping up with just the compute demand in general and all the different aims that are going to be coming down the pipeline. Ray, did you want to speak to any of the other specs on? I mean, you were the one that pioneered this, and we're very thankful for Ray's aptitude and passion around this project, because he found an amazing partnership for us that's proven to be just an amazing little machine that's going to really help us expand and scale. So, Ray, did you want to mention anything about it in particular?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Hey,
yeah,
Ray.
loud and clear.
Awesome. I'm in the car, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, we're excited about this guy. I've been I've been, working with computers since the x86 10 megahertz. I don't know how many of you out there remember, or actually the Commodore 64, but that wasn't the same architecture. The little turbo switch from 10 megahertz to 20 megahertz. I don't know if you guys remember that. That machine was probably the size of a good size of luggage, and it had a hard drive that was 10 megabytes. That was probably about 20 times the size of your hard drive now. So to see the capacity that we have grown is unbelievable, unprecedented how fast technology is evolving. So making a choice about a piece of hardware in today's market is not easy to do, because just like a new car that you drive off your lot and it's worth $2,000 less as soon as you drive it off the lot, right? So how do we maintain value? How do we sustain value? How do we keep a value prop happening for something like this that goes beyond the year or 2 years for an investment that you're making in something like this? So the biggest thing there, especially the economy that we're participating in with a piece of hardware like this, is making sure that it can keep up with the evolving demands of AI compute. We see how fast that's evolving. We see how much, if you take a language model like Ollama or some ChatGPT or DeepSeek or anything else that you can get your hands on there, run it locally on the node like this, it's going to take everything the node's got and plus some. So we want to be able to expand the capability of that so that node owners and the node factory owners that are enabling the running of these AIMs and the deployment of these kind of services can actually participate in that wealth generating economy, not just for the next 6 months or the next year, but they can keep expanding through the base model for another 2, even 3 years or more, depending on how things go. That expandability feature, the eGPU, is what really allows us to say, hey, the latest GPU card that just came out from NVIDIA or whoever that everybody wants to get their hands on, plug it in, expand your unit, and play and enjoy what it does for you. So that's the biggest feature. It's power draw. It's like Evan was saying, it's very classy, it's elegant, it's power efficient, it's tight. I actually took it apart to look at it and how it was built and make sure that, there's a lot of things when you're integrating a machine like this that you're thinking about. Cooling is one of them. And so the inside of the machine is very well thought out. They have plating over your RAM chips. They have, all kinds of taping and all kinds of different ways to make sure that the airflow through the unit is cool and it keeps the unit running. So I put it to the test. I actually deployed an AIM using the HyperCycle node manager. This specific AIM was crunching astrological data for one of the projects out there that has an AIM in our registry. And as soon as I launched the AIM, it pegged all 22 cores. It took all my RAM, and that unit sat there doing that nonstop, without fail, for 2 weeks until I stopped it. It didn't crash once. That kind of stability and power efficiency, that's what you want in a unit like this. So having something that runs like that, that's reliable that way. As soon as we get the mobile app developed, that's in progress now, you'll be able to talk to your unit lying in bed. And then, of course, that big green reward button is going to show up there at some point. You're going to see the money flowing into your wallet, right? This is the exciting part of all this. And you start to actually see some of that revenue happening. I myself have been building an AIM for the Cardano ecosystem, and I've been using my box that I'm testing with and killing it. And that AIM has been running nonstop in the background without fail for the last month that I've been testing with it and developing this application. I'm actually able to accept payments now and move money across the AIM. So technically, I do have an AIM that can accept payments and that will load up the royalty wallet, the cold wallet that's associated with the node. So that's happening. The marketplace that you're starting to hear more and more about, you're going to see demos for that soon. May is going to be our month for that. That's going to be where we're matching computer resources and we're matching AIMs and deploying, and you get to bring your boxes to the marketplace and say, hey, I want to rent out my box, and someone says, okay, I'm going to be deploying. Hold on one second. Car stuff.
Go ahead, Ray. Sorry, I was going to pick up where you left off, but keep going if you're available.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're excited about this, and we're working hard to get it out to you guys. I know it's been a while, and it's going to be a little while longer. It's going to be well worth the wait. Inside the store online, you're also going to have access to accessories that you can build out some of those expansion capabilities. So that's also going to be available for you. And the price points are always going to be good through us, right? We're always treating our community fair. We really are just doing everything we can to make it easy for anybody to participate in this wealth generation economy. Anybody. You don't have to be technical. You don't have to be anyone who even knows anything about AI. Buy the appliance, plug it in, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and have fun. That's really what we're wanting to do here. So that's it for me for now. I'll stay listening for a bit. I'll have to jump off here in a few minutes, but if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Thanks, Ray. Well said, brother. Mauricio, are you back? Looks like he might still be having audio issues. You there, Mauricio? Well, good thing he sent me some questions, so I think I'll just answer those until we get him back online. But once again, very grateful for HPEC DAO to be hosting this. One of the questions that he sent me was, what role do communities like HPEC DAO, how do they kind of play into HyperAppliance's global growth? So as I was thinking about this, HPEC DAO to me is kind of like the connective tissue between our users and the broader HyperCycle ecosystem, which is growing rapidly. They're really not just supporters. This group is an amazing group of individuals that are builders, they're testers, they're evangelists, and I think above all, maybe they're also educators. As we know, or maybe we don't know, but HyperAppliance isn't scaling through maybe traditional means of, big ad spends or VC dollars. We're really scaling in these initial stages through community trust and technical evangelism. So DAOs like HPEC are basically how decentralized infrastructure spreads organically, person to person, node to node, kind of like a digital mycelium. And I'm just very grateful for that, because I'm not sure how far we would have gotten at this point without them. And it's it's an amazing way to build this kind of decentralized ecosystem through partners like Mauricio's HPEC. So thank you guys so much. I don't know if that kind of answers that question, or if Jerry wants to speak to that as well, but or maybe Mauricio, if you're back, just say something so we know you're back and alive.
Actually, I just got a message from him. He's going to be trying to log in with his phone, his computer. He had an issue with his computer.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll add a little bit to that. I mean, you spoke eloquently about that, Evan. But again, when a company like HyperAppliance is bucking the mold of, here's a company, all we're gonna do here, we have an idea. We're gonna seek angel investment. Angel investment is gonna help us get a concept so that we can get a round A investment. Round A investment is going to lead to an MVP where we can get a round B investment. I mean, that whole model of tech company growth that was established literally in the 2000s, in large part to Silicon Valley, we're really disrupting that, right? We're rolling up our sleeves. We've got an idea we believe is valid. The world is substantiating that with the news every single day, and we are building from a community standpoint, not an angel slash round A, typical round B type of model. We're organically growing this company built off of people who believe in the mission. And that is an absolutely incredible thing to be a part of, in that we only have the community that we serve, our clients, to answer to. We don't have an angel investor that we need to take their direction. We're not beholden to around a group of investors. Now, I'm not saying that we will never seek investment. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that every single day that we get to continue forward with a community, and HPEC DAO is a big part of that, is the direction that we get to fulfill the mission and put our clients first. And I think that's really an important element that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's absolutely true in our case.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I totally agree. Mauricio, it looks like, are you back in the call on your personal X account? It looks like I see your logo there. Just want to test out if you can actually speak, or would we have to bring him up on stage? I'm not sure if we would have to do that.
It says he's a listener. I'm not sure how to do that, Evan.
That's okay. I mean, I'm just going to keep going. I think he could probably figure it out on the fly. I'm not savvy enough to have done this too many times to be able to do that on the fly, but he did send me the question, so I kind of want to keep going through these.
All right.
The next one was about kind of some of the next gen, or basically any features or updates that I'm particularly excited about, or anyone else from the team. I think, as long as Ray's on, I love to just kind of, I would sing his praises first and foremost. This Cardano SPO AIM was born out of necessity, basically, for Ray. I mean, he's someone that will speak to this personally, I'm sure. But this whole AIM, the idea is to provide SPOs with an alternative to just giving their money to Azure, AWS, Google Cloud every month to host their nodes. As we thought about this, we were like, okay, well, can we run a full Cardano node on this device? And it's more than robust enough to do that. And Ray is just about putting the finishing touches on his AIM that is going to allow anyone in our marketplace to say, hey, I'm a Cardano SPO. I'd like to decentralize my operations further. And instead of paying X dollar amount to Azure, I'd like to pay one of these box owners. And it's on average, it's definitely going to be less. The percentage less, it still remains to be seen, but it's going to be a more frugal and more decentralized way of offering these SPOs hosting for their nodes. So I don't know, Ray, if you want to speak to any of that personally, or kind of the inception of that idea, but I think that's, for me, that Cardano SPO AIM, which is going to be right off the bat, be able to be pre-installed in the marketplace and available to box owners as soon as the Neuron's available. But then also, working on stuff like a local AI assistant, perhaps with the help of FluxPoint, but something that kind of runs fully offline, like a private chat GPT in a box. That's going to be kind of a cool thing to explore and build out. And then also, I think just this marketplace feature that's going to allow our box owners, right when they open up the box, to match up with AIMs that need compute in a very sleek and easy to use UI UX. That's going to be invaluable for our community. So Ray or Jerry, anyone else want to speak to kind of some of your most particularly some of the features that you're particularly excited about coming up?
Yeah, and let me know, if I'm coming across. I'm moving through. I'm in movement here, so I don't know how these signals are, but yeah, I'm obviously very motivated. I've been a Cardano stake operator since the first day you could be, July 29, 2020, and I've been with a lot of infrastructure in Azure, Contabo, DigitalOcean, all those big guys. And I'm tired of paying them when we have a beautiful decentralized community like HyperCycle can do it for us, and a bunch of box owners and node operators that are ready to do this for us. So I'm like, okay, so what's the most important thing? Stability, availability, and manageability of the node, and making it pretty and making it easy for you to deploy, move a node from any one of those central factors over to HyperCycle from this AIM.
I think we might be losing you a little bit there, Ray. I think you might have been going through a tunnel or something like that. We missed the last sentence and a half, but keep going. I think it might have kicked back in.
Yeah, I think I'm in the mountains. I see the peaks. I'm like, who knows where the towers are.
Nice.
So yeah, in brief, all the most important tools that a Cardano stateful operator needs to bootstrap. You got Mithril on there. You get a quick bootstrap to the chain. You got a Mithril download client that comes with this. Joy Manager, a suite that manages the node. Not only your node, but all the other nodes that you have in your arsenal of Cardano nodes will also be managed from here. G-Live View, CN Tools is on here. It's all packaged nice and neat for you to be able to operate this within your Cardano environment and migrate to very easily at a great price point. So that's what it's all about. Obviously, I'm very driven. I'm driven by my own need to move myself onto the HyperCycle network and into its marketplace. I'm tired of giving my money to all these other actors. So that's the scoop.
Nice. Thanks, Ray. Jerry, do you want to speak to any particular feature that you're most excited about?
Sure. Well, I'll speak to the stake pool operator AIM in a kind of a high level viewpoint. It was really clear to me when we started talking about ways to integrate decentralized software networks like Cardano, like Avalanche, like Ethereum, like so many. It became like the lowest hanging fruit to me was like really clear. Let's talk to the stake pool operators, and it became very clear that stake pool operators don't enjoy sending a check to AWS. They just have no other choice. There are very few stake pool operators that have a bare metal rig in their basement and are able to literally house their own software, right? And so we have these incredible decentralized software networks that aren't decentralized from a physical infrastructure element. And for us to be able to move into that market and provide a solution where either a stake pool operator can go to the marketplace and find somebody who is going to provide cost-effective compute, or that they do the ROI themselves in a spreadsheet and realize it makes more sense for them to buy a device and have it in their home, like how Raymond's going to be doing it, right? Raymond is going to be running his own machine and running a stake pool off of the machine, right? Now, obviously, he'll have a backup, and maybe he uses a Mauricio HPEC DAO machine to run the backup inference on that. I don't know for sure, but one of the things that I'm really excited about is that these decentralized software blockchain networks will have a solution for compute that is truly decentralized, fulfilling the philosophy and the mission that they have been talking about for years. That's exciting to be a part of that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, appreciate that, Jerry. So let's move on. A couple more questions that I had from HPEC, and then we'll kind of open it up for questions. One of them I thought was really interesting. It was, is there any plan to introduce a marketplace for reselling appliances, licenses, or compute access, or even renting out nodes? So I guess the short answer is not immediately, but yes, that is something we've talked about as kind of our core leadership group, kind of exploring a permissionless marketplace model of being able to either sell access to idle compute or even maybe fractionalized nodes across different AI projects. We're also kind of drafting, not drafting, but kind of looking into maybe some sort of licensed NFT model, so node operators can actually kind of resell or lease their appliances with on-chain reputation already baked in. All these things are just kind of in the ideation process, but it's something we definitely want to look at in the future. Because once again, we believe DePIN doesn't just decentralize machines, it decentralizes ownership, revenue, reputation, all of it. So yes, there probably will be some sort of marketplace for reselling appliances or licenses or compute access or even renting out nodes in the future, but it's not our next step on the roadmap, if you will. It's kind of something probably 2026 and beyond for sure. Yeah. Jerry, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that as well.
No, I think you touched on that. Matter of fact, to be completely transparent, we're open to suggestions, right? So, like a call, not a call to action, but to let you all know, for instance, one of the things that we're building this company around is interaction and engagement. So this is our very first space. We intend to have more. As our X channel grows, we'll be hosting them ourselves at some point. We are also going to be doing a series of town halls on Zoom where we hope to not only engage with our community face to face, but to actually be able to present visual demos, right? These demonstrations of things that we're working on, things that people can expect, and be able to bring kind of a fuller interaction with the community. We just launched our Telegram group called HyperAppliance Community on Telegram. We're spinning up a Discord server. Mauricio actually is managing both of those elements. He'll be our community manager in those respects. Really glad to have him participating on that level. And let's see, in marketplace reselling appliances license. Yeah, it's really filling out that the whole spectrum of what we're doing is being fleshed out on a daily basis. And it's really exciting to be a part of it.
I concur. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jerry. Last question before we get into any questions from the audience. So, and I hope I can take questions. I just realized since I'm not the host, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The last question that he sent me, one of them was, in your opinion, what would be the best investment in the HyperAppliance or broader HyperCycle space right now for someone just stepping in? So that new person just coming in, what in the world's HyperCycle? What's HyperAppliance? Why is everything hyper? You know, all those questions come to mind, right? So if you're just kind of stepping in today, I think the best investment isn't necessarily just going out and buying a node factory on Hype, or buying a Neuron because it looks fancy and cool. But it starts kind of, for me, the genesis of all of this for me was this mental shift that this ecosystem is going to reward participation and not just passivity. Yes, there is like kind of essentially it is a kind of a semi-passive income play for some of this, because there is going to be some kind of more popular default aims that don't require a lot of operation day in and day out, I'm sure. But practically, owning that appliance, or owning and operating or operating node factories, or joining a DAO like HPEC, it gives you exposure to these kind of compute rewards, governance, maybe future kind of allocation and perks. But more importantly, it gives you ownership in this future of decentralized intelligence that I kind of started this whole talk off with. And that's really an asymmetric bet that I'd take every time at this point in humanity. I mean, we are headed into a whole new final frontier as it goes for tech and AI and distributed compute. So I think I would start with education. I would start with kind of that mental shift of why is this valuable and why do I want to spend any time devoted to this? But there, I mean, it's going to, wherever you want to go, if you want to just devote 2 hours a week to this thing and just want to run some basic aims that are going to earn you some money on the side, you can do that. Or you can get involved in different hackathons that we're going to be setting up. You can, obviously stay updated through all of our channels, but participating in testnets, hackathons, just thinking long-term about where this thing is headed. You can get as involved or not as involved as you'd like, really. So I think that's where I'd start, with understanding what is the real value to this and how much do I want to be involved in it. But we'd love you in the community, and we'd love you to, tell your friends about what we're talking about on this call, and invite them to the town hall that's coming up on Sunday, and then the subsequent Saturday. We're going to be really kind of full court pressing communications from here on out as we move into the launch of the Neuron, hopefully in 60 days or so. So, Jerry, want to tag along anything on that?
Sure.
And then we'll open it up.
Yeah. So when I got the list of questions, the big simple answer is the very best investment any of us can make is starting to educate ourselves into what truly is the value proposition that's being presented. There are going to be a lot of shiny objects that are kind of more or less going to be distractions, right? The real investment opportunity is to understand compute, right? This incredible commodity of electricity running through a chip powering software. And that by itself, just understanding that stack, right? If you start to understand and learn about electricity, how far can it be transmitted? What are the general costs to produce it? What can you do with it once you have it, right? Same with the chips, same with the software. All of these elements, I liken it, and I've heard this spoken before. I liken compute to our next 40 years no differently than oil was for the last 100, right? The way oil and its processing allowed us to go from ox and cart and plow to tractor, car, bus, truck, plane, ship. You know, in every vertical of industry, oil played a very key role in efficiency and productivity. And I think compute is literally foundationally that same type of commodity. And so understanding it, how can we harness it? How can we take advantage of it and leverage it is going to be, I don't want to say unique to every person, but not every person is going to want to leverage it or utilize it in the same way. So learn about it, understand it, see where you fit in, see what is comfortable for you. One of the things that we have going for us that generations before us did not is that we have the established internet to fall back on, right? We have this incredible connective tissue around the world that has just literally been missing the ability to transmit value effortlessly and the ability to harness intelligence effortlessly. Those two components are coming into play now with blockchain and AI. And what an exciting time for us to be doing what we're doing, right? And here's the thing, no different than Bitcoin, we're so early. This is our chance. You know what I mean? This is our chance to get in early, learn. We're all going to make some mistakes. Let's forgive ourselves, dust ourselves off, get back up, and keep going because there is so much growth ahead of us. The worst thing you can do is do nothing, right? So if you're doing something, at least you're gaining some ground. And so that's what my 10,000 foot view down would be. The best investment you could make is in the education of understanding compute, electricity, running through hardware, powering software, and see where in that tech stack you can use your skills, your resources to capitalize and make your life better as well as the life of your family and friends around you.
Well said, Jerry. Yeah, very good. I'm going to try to open it up for questions and see if that works. I think right now I'm just a speaker. HPEC is the host, so I'm not sure if you can raise your hand to try to ask a question, or maybe put it in the chat section, and I can try to read it and respond. We only have about 8 minutes left, so I want to make sure we answer any question. Or you could always reach us any time of day on our X accounts as well if we can't get to it. But I wanted to at least try. Mauricio, are you back on the HPEC account?
He isn't. He just messaged me.
Okay.
He's leaving it us. He's leaving it up to us to try to navigate our way out of this. I do want to make one more announcement, Evan, before we can try to get questions.
Of course.
I want everybody to know we're doing these town halls on Zoom, and the only way to get there is by invite only. How do you get an invite, you ask? It's real simple. You send an email requesting a seat at the town hall to Jerry at HyperAppliance.ai, and I will send you a formal invite as well as instructions on how to get in.
Good call. Thanks for mentioning that, Jerry. Yeah, that's going to be an important town hall. It's going to be really fun. Starting with some conversation about updates and what we're looking forward to, some of the philosophy around what we're building, but then really getting into some of the demos that we've been building out. Like we mentioned, Ray's Cardano SPO AIM. He's going to be able to provide a working visual demo of what that is going to be looking like for box owners, as well as it sounds like Nate Minton of FluxPoint Studios will be able to join us for a demo on the marketplace as well, and to kind of show the progress on that thus far. It's just about buttoned up as well, so we're going to have a lot to show visually, and that's why we're using Zoom. So please email Jerry if you want to attend at Jerry at HyperCycle.ai, and he will get you in. I'm not sure if the questions are going to work today. Next time we will be doing it from our HyperAppliance account, but like Jerry mentioned, we just started it a few days ago, so we wanted to build it up a little bit before hosting ourselves. But we do appreciate HPEC for trying to host here. I know that was tough with the technical limitations of wherever you were at, Mauricio, but we really appreciate it. And yeah, Jerry, if you have any other last words before we conclude,
and so I want to ask everybody, if you could, whether you're listening to us live or catching the recording, to find us. We are HyperAppliance, and so our particular, I'm trying to find it, I'm stalling. Our particular exact X account is at HyperAppliance _ Nope, that is not it. Is that it?
No, it is.
Oh,
it is, Jerry. Yeah, it's the one that I'm actually logged in as for this call. Yeah.
At HyperAppliance _ And what we'd like you to do is follow us over there, make a comment. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're live or you're coming in from a recording. If you follow HyperCycle and you understand that the C8 program is underway, and C8 is going to be bringing a whole set of node factories on the base chain protocol, I will at random 2 new followers to the HyperAppliance _ So at HyperAppliance _ 2 new followers will get base level 10 node factories as just a way to say thank you for joining us over there at HyperAppliance on X.
Awesome. Forgot about that little cookie you were going to extend, Jerry. Thank you, my man.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. It's like, you know what? If we're not sharing it and we're trying to hoard it, I've seen too many hoarder movies. It's not good. It never ends well.
The hoarder movie turns into a horror movie. I concur.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for taking your time out with us today. Feel free to leave us comments on our at HyperAppliance _ X, and we will answer them, as well as find a couple of you new followers to get some node factories too.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you joining. Send some questions our way. We love you guys. Take it easy.
Pura vida. Ciao.
Pura vida.